Hi, good evening, everybody. On this lovely sunny evening, it's the night before VE Day, and all is quiet in the house. In fact, all is still quiet everywhere. We're 7 weeks now into lockdown, and I think for most people, it's become the new normal, which is kind of weird. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Richard Askam. I've been hosting these Grimbarians Talks now for nearly a year, I think, which is great. But of course, this is a weird period of time to be doing this in, because I can't sit face to face with my guest or shake his hand, which is also weird. But what we're going to try and do tonight is just have a little chitter chatter about Sam and his views on the world and all things Grimsby, and see where we get to. I've got no plan. I've got no questions written down. We'll see exactly how that develops. So, but you're very welcome to this evening, and also welcome to my guest, Sam Delaney.
Thanks, Rich. Thanks for making me feel welcome. Brilliant.
Good. Well, it's
good to be here.
Yeah, it's nice to see you, and thanks for joining us, Sam. So for those of you at home that don't know who Sam is, perhaps you could take a minute or two, Sam, just to tell us a little bit about yourself.
I'm a director of Create Start, which is a local community interest company, probably most well known for our murals really and art projects, but we're really an arts in health program and a recovery program. So art is just a tool that we tend to use, but anything creative really. We share our skills and we use activities and art and creativity to fill the void. So I work primarily with, and that's how it started, with people that are on the other side of addiction. So they're in a period where they're living a life free of whatever addiction that they've had. And to change your life, obviously, you need, for example, drinking, and you need something pretty good to replace it with. And there's a void left, and we try to fit it, because we say that the obsession don't go away. With a lot of people that we work with, they're quite obsessive people. So, and that part of it doesn't go away. So it's like channeling that. It's channeling that into something that's not destructive. For me, it was art, because I enjoyed it. It helped me to deal with things. It was a form of meditation. And there was a time in my life where I needed something to sort of clear my mind, really, and art was a great tool for me personally. And really, what I did with Creative Start, I just wanted to share that. I just wanted to share that with like-minded people, people I had some empathy with, and it just went from there. Really, I remember seeing a guy that I'd worked with. It was prior to this. I did a lot of group stuff, a lot of group therapy, which was a bit more frontline. And I remember working with a guy who had gone into rehab. And when I'd first met him, he couldn't look you in the eye. He couldn't even. He'd be like this. He'd always wear a hood, and because you don't really like yourself much when you're like that. And I remember going to see him in rehab, right? And he'd been straight for about a year, and there was a picture of him, like he'd created a self-portrait of himself in acrylic paint, and I just looked at it and I couldn't. The contrast, it really hit me, and I just thought that's what I want to do. So Creative Start and the sort of art techniques I use have been around a long time. I've been doing it about 10 years, but they've been doing it in similar sort of thing inside prisons, in rehabs, for a long time, across the world. And I just wanted to be part of that. It's something I enjoy doing. It's a complete change to what I used to do. And since I've been doing it, I don't feel like I've worked a day in my life, really. Some days are difficult because you have to do things that you don't particularly want to do, but the rest of it is just an absolute pleasure, really. And I'm just grateful that I can do it and share it with other people.
Fantastic. And tell me, what did you do before?
Well, I left school when I was about 17, back in the 90s, and I did go. It's funny enough, I did go to art school, and I took my work, and that's what I wanted to do. I loved it at school. I was a little bit. I get distracted a lot, and but I loved art. I loved it, and I wasn't fantastic at it. I just liked doing it. And I remember going to to an art school, and the guy must have been having a bad day, right? And he was like pretty much dismissed it all. And I was like, oh right. So I went in a different direction. I had three of my cousins worked up on the trading floor, on the live floor at the London International Financial Futures Exchange,
Yep.
which was one of the biggest trading floors in the world at the time. And yeah, I went up there, and my interview was basically, do you know anything about dealing futures? I said, not really. And he went, it's like buying and selling oranges. You can start Monday. I was like, right. And suddenly I went from school to being in this playground for adults, pretty much. It was crazy. And
was it an open cry market?
Cry market, yeah.
Wow. So you had a fancy coloured jacket?
Yeah, well, I had a yellow one. So
okay,
I was like,
that's quite fancy.
I was at the bottom, really. You have to work your way up to another different colour jacket. But I went onto the phone. So you start off as a runner. And you're pretty much sort of dog's body, really, and you've got to be very tough-skinned, because I mean, at the time, I don't know how they got away with it. Really, you wouldn't get away with it now, but I wasn't. I would react when I was younger. I used to react quite a bit, and I shouldn't. So I shouldn't have. And up there, you've got to be like a bit of a lad, but you've got to toe the line as well.
Yeah. It's a very fine line, I think, between testosterone-fueled, exuberance and compliance.
Yeah, it is, and I loved it, and everybody loved it. I mean, I still have dreams about the trading floor quite regularly, and if you speak to people that work there, they all do, because it was that intense. There's times where I'd have a phone here, a phone there, and 3 phones, and I remember I had an error once, and I put because I was a broker, I progressed to being a broker, and I wasn't a very good one, believe me. I was still distracted at that point. I've never been good at maths, right? I was still, so I had to add up really quickly, It was like, you have to add up super quick. So I struggled, and it's intense. It's like you get orders down the phone, bang, 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 bang. You've got to shout at the trader and get your order in, and it's just, I wasn't really cut for it. I mean, I don't know how I would cope now, and it was never many people over 40 there. There was a burnout, and but I did what I survived for a while, But I remember having an error once, and it was 80,000, and it was just by putting a hand signal in wrong.
Wow.
I think it was a 5, and it was meant to be a 4 or something like that. And I was convinced, and everything was videoed at the time and recorded. So I went into the video room, and it was like, clearly I'd made a mistake, and it's £80,000,
Yeah.
So then you've got, you don't feel too good after that. But it was a very interesting place. Great experience. It's like an institution. Everyone still stays in touch. They've got a Facebook page with about 3,000 people on it, and it was a great thing to be part of. Whether it was for me, that's a different matter.
It doesn't matter. It's what you did, and whether it was right or wrong, you've done it now, so you can't change it.
I did used to draw like on trading cards and stuff, and get in trouble for it, and so there was always that creative thing there.
So I was going to say, so the artist was always in there, desperate to get out.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it was something. It was something where I thought, I want to do something different. I don't want to be doing this. I went from that to I always had high pressure jobs. I went from that, the floor closed down, and suddenly a lot of people were left like, what do you do? I went and worked in recruitment, and it was IT recruitment at the time. Again, it was straight in. I thought, there can't be a place like that. And then I got a job, and it was another madhouse in a good way, depending on how you look at it.
Well, you're not trading oranges at that point; you're trading people at that point.
Yeah, exactly. So, and then I went to Australia. I went to Australia at 20. I think I was only about 21, 22. And I spent 7 years over there.
Wow. Okay. Doing what?
Recruitment again, but
okay.
I was a bit like a dog off the lead over there. I was a very different person to what I am now, and I was out of control, really. If I put it, put it bluntly, that I was out of control. And when I was overseas, my thing was I used to run away. So I thought, if I could go to the moon, I would have gone to the moon. So it was always about not dealing with stuff for me. And so I went to Australia, and I was there for 7 years, and I came back. I just made a decision. My decisions were quite rash. So I'd been there 7 years, and then I just went, one day I went, right, going home. And I just went home and left everything there. And it was, and I thought that coming home, that was the answer, because I wasn't happy. I had some amazing experiences in Australia, and it's a lovely country, a lovely place to live. But I wasn't in the right space in my head to enjoy it.
And then actually, if you're not in the right space in your head, it doesn't matter where you are in the world. It could be the most beautiful place in the world, but if it's not right in your head, then it's not the right place, is it?
So yeah, I mean, exactly. That's my life. That is my life. In one quote, that's me. And you know, people that said to me, "How comes you're in Grimsby?" And I'm in Grimsby, but my head is all right here. You know.
Okay.
And I came to Grimsby. My missus lived here, and she weren't going to come to where I was living.
Well, I was going to say, I mean, for the eagle-eared in our audience, you'll notice that there isn't quite the Grimsby twang in your accent. So where is home originally? Where were you born?
I was born in a place called Orpington.
In
that's
Kent.
where my family, in Kent. And so I was brought up there. I've come from a huge family, a big Irish family. My mum was a Sicilian family. So I come from two huge families of, immigrants, really. My dad was one of 15, and my mum was also one of 15. So
blimey, there's family parties there then.
Oh, it's crazy. We got two football teams at Delaney. We have get together and play a football team. We have a football match.
Okay. So
every year we get together and have a football match.
Do you all sit around and kick the crap out of each other for 90 minutes?
Basically, that's pretty much. There's no football. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, quite. Nobody's brought the ball. Never mind.
So that's it's brilliant to be part of something like that, and you know it's.
But you fell in love. You fell in love with a Grimsby girl.
Yeah, it's exactly. And she weren't going to move, right? So I was like, right, what do I do?
They don't. The thing I love, because I'm born and bred in Cleethorpes and lived in the area most of my life. And the thing I love about this area is how deep people are in the soil. They've been here forever. They'll be here forever. They don't mind waiting until it gets a bit nicer. But they're not going anywhere. And that that's the bit that I love about it, is that it's the draw card, I think. So, which is random. I know everybody has their own reason for being anywhere, but it always feels, because you're not going anywhere when you come to Grimsby, are you? You're coming here. It's not on the way, and well, other than Holland, or Belgium maybe, but it's a destination in and of itself. And so I think if you choose to live here, then that's where you choose to stay, which is quite interesting.
Yeah, and it's everybody knows Grimsby. See, everybody has heard of Grimsby as well, but actually, when we were younger, I suppose this funny thing, my dog, when we was younger, was a Grimsby supporter. Okay. So when he must have known that I was coming here, you see, because I could have never predicted that I was coming here.
He could have picked any team. But
when the results used to come up, we used to go Grimsby, and he'd start barking, and it always stayed with me. We said, "Oh, he's a Grimsby supporter." So, but yeah, with Grimsby, everybody's heard of it. It's not like a lot of towns.
Very true. Yeah, it's very true. I mean, I often joke that it would be much easier for the marketing people if it was called Niceby. We are where we are, and as you say, I think it is famous and infamous in equal measures to a lot of people, and that's part of its charm. I think.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, when I came here, it was. I was a bit sort of taken back, really, about, I suppose, when you come to a place and you look at it with fresh eyes, don't you? I suppose when you've lived here all your life, you start to take things for granted a little bit. We all do.
Well, it's yours to slag off, isn't it, when you've been here all your life? But rather interestingly, 100% of the people that live here will not let anybody that's not from here slag it off.
No, and but one thing, I've made a lot of friends here, and I've never had anyone say anything to me, or to my face or anything like that. What are you doing here? Or it's been, I've never had any of that. So I've been made to feel welcome as as far as I'm concerned.
And how long have you lived here now, Sam?
About 8 years now.
Okay.
You know, and I've got a boy here now, and he's
Okay.
definitely got an accent.
Yeah.
I keep trying to correct him, but he's not having it.
And is the dog still a town fan?
Oh, he's not. He's no longer about.
Ah, yeah,
Hector.
that happens to town fans, unfortunately.
Yeah. He was the only town fan left. I'm falling into that trap. I better keep my mouth shut. No, really.
So, tell me a little bit about your life in Grimsby then, and you know what does it do? What does it look like? You know, what's your average day, your average week, or do you have an average day or an average week? Is every week different?
The way I live my life now is every day is the same. And what I mean by that is I live as much in the day as I can. And this is why this lockdown hasn't really changed much for me. Okay. I kind of work every day in my own way because I'm passionate about what I do. And it's not just that I'm passionate about it. It's one of the main priorities in my life is the work that I do. Because it's part of my life and where I am now. I'm in recovery, and I have been for 15 years. So what I've had to do is learn to live life on its own terms and live in the moment, live in the present, and try not to do things that I don't want to do. So every day I get up and I think, you know, what am I going to do today? And like, it's always enjoyable these days. It's taken a while. There's been some times it's been difficult, really difficult. I felt like jacking it in, but if I would have been driven by, say, money or you know, even art and things like that, it would have never survived. Like, it's something. It's passion and it's you know, perseverance, obviously, as well. So that's what I'm driven by. So at the moment, I mean, an average day is we now have a drop-in. It's taken a while to get to this point, but we now have a drop-in for people in recovery, and it's people in recovery running it, which is really what I'm most proud of. And when I came to Grimsby, that was what I wanted to do. I came here with sort of on the ground running, and I said to me, you know, I was doing this before. I was working in Wigan. So I knew it worked, and I came here and I said, just tell me where the people are. Tell me where the people are. And I went into some of the drop-ins. I went to Harbour Place. There was a drop-in called The Roundabout. I went into the addiction services, and I was like a one-man band, and it was crazy, like, really. We had groups, and it was like 60 people that like doing art, and it was almost like it was too overwhelming for me in a way. But what I realised very quickly was the peer support wasn't there as it should be. That's not a criticism. That's quite a common thing across the country. And what I mean by that is there wasn't people in recovery helping other people.
Yeah.
At earlier stages, or people that we say still in that sort of madness. There wasn't much of that about, and I thought, right, that's what I'm going to work at. I'm going to try and change the recovery focus in Grimsby and do my bit. And then since then, it's just been a journey. And now how
long have you been going with Creative Start?
Well, Creative Start's been going about 10, 11 years, but in Grimsby about 8 years.
Okay.
So, but initially I was like going into services. Now we have a drop-in. We have a drop-in now where people.
And where is that, Sam? For anybody that wants to know,
it's the old Abbey Walk Gallery. So number 8 Abbey Walk. It's called the Comeback. We do all sorts of things here, and the thing is, our focus, I suppose, is people that are in recovery, but it's not like the program works for everyone. We get all kinds of people come and join in with our projects. So what we're doing is we're breaking down the barriers, because really we're fighting stigma, and we're saying, look, no one looks at me and thinks, you know, he's been an addict or he's been an alcoholic. You know, you can't see it, but I can tell you, I was. I'm not today, but it's not something that you can see. And there's a lot of people like me with a lot of potential. They've got a lot of potential, but they kind of get written off, and they don't have the belief or the hope that it's possible to get out of this madness that they might be in. And we're trying to give people evidence that it's possible. You can do it, and you can't just recover. And I mean, I'm not talking just about drugs and alcohol. I'm talking about all things. I'm talking about people that are socially isolated, depression, trauma, all them things. You can recover from that if you're in the right environment. I've always said, someone said to me a while ago, a friend of mine, and most of my friends are in recovery these days. He said, I had to change one thing, everything, and that's the truth. I had to change everything, the lot. And I was extreme. I lived an extreme life up to 29, but I was work hard, play harder, and I played very hard, in my life. But by the time I was 29, my life became unmanageable. It was unmanageable. It was a dead end. So I had to change, and that's difficult. To change is what a lot of people are afraid of, and I was afraid, very afraid, and it was a big thing. But I did have to change a lot. I changed a lot, and that's why it's good that I'm in a different town doing it, because I don't have all the, I suppose, the temptations. There's much temptation around me.
Sure. Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, on a day, it's great. I come in, I spend all day with people that I can be open with. I can talk about anything. I don't have to explain myself. We all understand each other, and we all look after each other. We're all honest with each other, and it's fantastic. I've got to a point now in Grimsby where Grimsby's been good to me. I can do the work that I've always wanted to do, but also I feel now that I could almost step away. And that's always been in the forefront of my mind. I want to get to a point where I can step away and the guys can take over.
That was going to kind of be my next question, really, Sam, because I guess if we draw a line between what you do and what you're doing as a metaphor for the town as a whole, and of course, as you'll know, one of the main sort of functions of the Grimbarians project is to breathe positivity and optimism back into a town that has forgotten where it put it. I'm not saying it doesn't have it. Or never had it, but they've just put it down somewhere and can't quite remember where it was. And so projects such as yours are as much a bridge to that optimism as any that I can think of, to be honest, because you have to take everybody with you when you're moving forward, because you can only go forward as fast as the slowest person. How much do you see in what you do in your daily working life that is starting to rebuild that optimism at the ground floor of the town?
From my perspective, it's changed a lot. I mean, I always thought that it would here, and I mean, I've gone to a few seaside towns, coast towns down in Kent, Margate, and places like that. And the change has been incredible. And art's always been a major factor in that. And I thought, this is going to happen here. It's going to happen here, like at some point. And it is kind of, it's a bit of a cliche, but it is. When I first came here, it was like a blank canvas. I looked at it and I thought, there's opportunities to do stuff here. There is. Yep. But you've got to have that hope that it's possible. I was very fortunate. I had people around me, and I've got people around me today, and people that I can pick the phone up and speak to at any time. Whenever I'm thinking of, maybe having a bad day, I can speak to them. And they remind me that I can achieve things, that there is hope, that things are possible. And that's really why I've been able to do this. I do believe there's a big change here. It's already happening. We're in it now. Obviously, I'm looking at it from my own perspective. Recovery has moved on so far here since I came here. That I don't think that they would have, they or whoever I wouldn't have been in a position when I first came here to be given this opportunity that I've got today. I don't think that would have happened. But I think that I've been part of that change, and hopefully I've just been a little part of it in the things that I enjoy doing. Look, I'm a flawed person. I'm flawed, and I readily admit it. There was a point in my life where I was damaged. I was damaged. So I compare myself to kind of the town, really, and I saw the town as being in a form of recovery, like myself, and that's how I see it still. And yeah, I think there's a lot of opportunity here, and I think there's a lot of things happening. and it's an exciting time to be here.
It is very much, and I spend a lot of my time, Sam, talking to people all over the world, actually, but primarily, in the local area about that magic word belief. And once you can instill belief in people, I am a firm believer that anything is possible. So what you're describing, and even in and of yourself, never mind the people that you work with and help, that it is entirely possible to take your words, a damaged human being, and recover to a point where you are quite clearly, because you can't fake this, by the way, a very happy man, doing what you love, in a town that you enjoy being in, and in a family environment that you absolutely adore, and that's born about from the belief that it's possible. Do you think, in that sort of instance, that belief is now starting to spread? It feels.
Oh yes, yeah.
It feels quite tangible to me. I'm interested to hear what you think.
Well, I believe things work from attraction. I don't tell people what to do. I never tell anyone what to do. I only lead by example. I'd say this is, in my experience, this is what I did, and this is what worked for me. And then if people are attracted by that and think, oh yeah, I want a little bit of that. That sounds. It starts to become a bigger thing. And I think that's what you have to do. You have to work. That's what I try and do in what I do anyway, the work I'm doing. And I always go back to that. Is lead by example, and people will be attracted to it, and the change will start happening. And in our little area where us guys are doing it, that's happening. There's so many positive people around me at the moment. It's great, and I learn all the time from people that are, especially in recovery at earlier stages. They say things to me, and I think, wow, that's fantastic. And I've been working with people in recovery for a long time now, and I've lost a lot of people. But there's some real people. Someone said it to me today. It's recovery is really changing. And for me, that means that the town's changing too.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, agreed. And it's been a weird few weeks, obviously, for everybody. It's hard to sort of draw any sort of conclusion as to what might happen next. We talked a little bit before we came on about what does the future look like. What does good look like for you? What does good look like for Sam Delaney in the coming weeks and months?
Well, the thing is, in life I've had to learn, if there's things that that are out of my control, then I don't think about them. I mean, of course, it's gone through my head. I'm worried about my family, if things, my dad and mum and people I care about at a certain age, and you worry about them. But I know that I can't control this situation, so I don't try to. And one thing I know that I've been able to do well is change. So I adapt very quickly. And what we did is we adapted I've been doing these Zoom meetings every day. Every day we've done a meeting, even over the Easter holidays. Because again, I just think that with what we do, it doesn't matter what day it is. So it doesn't take a day off. Like recovery don't take a day off anyway.
Yeah, it's like somebody said to me earlier, tomorrow's a bank holiday. I go, well, how's that going to differ?
Yeah, I think people have forgotten what day it is anyway, haven't they?
Yes, quite.
But I've just followed the protocol really, and just and the things that we've introduced. I mean, we started doing. I wanted to do something selfless because. And I'm not a do-gooder person. I don't feel like it is, but there's certain things, there's principles that I've put in my life that I know work. Like making amends with people and not letting things linger, and doing things that are selfless, because they're good for you, right? And they make you feel better. And you can't buy peace of mind. Like you can't order peace of mind on the internet, or So we've started sending packages out, to like we had some art materials and. We've just put in packages together. It's sort of like, it's gone a bit crazy. Like we was doing it today, but what I do now is I ask for help, so I asked the guys and I said, look, come and help me because I'm running around doing this. They all, they were like, what do you want us to do? And everyone followed the all the basically wore gloves and everything else and kept the distancing in place. And we did it. And it feels good, it feels great to be able to do that and not not be doing it for any other reason than feeling a bit better about itself.
Sure.
There was a point when I didn't feel very good about myself, and so I might be going off a bit of a tangent here, but for me, I've learned a lot during this, and we've done things that we will carry on. We will definitely carry on the things that we've done in lockdown. So the meetings that we do every day, we'll be doing them. There's people coming on to our meetings from London, from Wigan, which we couldn't do that before. We couldn't reach out to them people. So that's been happening. So we'll definitely carry on with that. And we'll also carry on with these packages. So maybe what we'll do is when it comes up to next summer, we'll start delivering these packages out again to children. Because it's just great. It's just great to be able to do something and not really want anything back from it. And I realised that if you're going to help people, and a lot of people, they kind of they feel that they might be ready to help people. And I think for the people that I've realised, I had to spend a good 3 years working on myself before I was ready. But I had good people around me, good mentors. So they were going, don't do that. Focus on you. And then it comes to a point where I could help people. But you can't go in with any expectations. You cannot go in thinking you're going to get pats on the back and everyone's going to thank you, because it just doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that with vulnerable people. It definitely doesn't work like that with people in recovery, because all you're doing is leading by example. You're not doing it for them. So if they get well, brilliant. I'm quite not. When I first went into recovery, I went to a meeting. I was in a meeting. It wasn't a 12-step meeting, but it was a meeting of other people that were like me. And most of them are dead. That's the reality. I would say 80% of them are not here anymore. And I've lost a lot of people doing this. A lot of friends. I've witnessed, people losing their lives through their own addictions. And when you've done a bit of that, you get to a point where the way I work with people is I go, look, I'm not worried about what you do. I'm not worried about, that's up to you. I'm just worried about me, and that's the attraction bit. If I was to run around and put my arms around people's shoulders and tell them, I'd be on a loser straight away. So I would get corrected by this side, some of the guys, but I say you've got to be a little bit selfish. You've got to be a little bit selfish, but for the right reasons. And there's probably a better word for it, to be honest. But that's what I did with the art. I said, I kind of went, look, I like doing this. I like doing painting. I like painting. I love doing it. Anyone wants to come and join me, then great, come and join me. I've never asked anyone to come. It's purely
they just find you.
Attraction. Yeah, it's just it's attraction. That's the way we do it. That's the way it works in recovery. You can't do it any other way.
No, I agree.
It's just it just doesn't work.
So the bounce back that everybody's talking about, really, as far as you're concerned, you've been bouncing back for years, then, haven't you? Really?
Oh, every day's bouncing back, and I'm learning all the time and learn about myself. I didn't know myself for a long time. I didn't like myself. I'm a different person to what I was last year, and I'm a different person to what I was 10 years ago. Me and myself as a young man wouldn't have got on at all. With completely different people. I live a completely different life to what I used to live. So my whole life's about changing. It's about living life on life's terms. That's what I do. I don't drink. I don't. I've no desire to drink. No desire. It's not there because I filled that void with something that's for me. People go and say, "Oh yeah, you don't drink, do you?" And I go, "Well, I could. I could. It's like smoking. No one goes to you, "Oh, no one says to you, if you say, "Oh, I don't smoke," no one goes, "Well, what's up with you? What's up with you? You have a fag?"
Yes, very true.
With drink, it's like, what they go, "What's wrong? What's wrong?"
Yeah.
It's nothing wrong. It's just for me is that I know that it'd make me ill very quickly, mentally and physically. For me, I don't care about anyone else. What everybody else does is fine. That's up to them. But I know there's a lot of people like me as well. There's a lot of people that are like me that if they activate that part of them, it's not good, because it's not the drinking and it's not the drugs or the addictive behaviour that's bad. It's they're irrelevant, really. It's the behaviour that goes with it. So it's the deceit, it's the lies, it's all that stuff that breaks families up and causes problems, and the shame and the guilt and all that you go through. And so for me, yeah, my whole life's been about changing, and thankfully for the better. But I check myself all the time. I check myself all the time, and everything I do, I kind of second guess myself a lot and go, look, what was my part to play in that? And I've got better at practice. You have to practice this. You have to practice living life on its own terms. And I try to look at my part to play in all things. So even if it's just a little part, and I make mistakes like everybody. I make mistakes, but hopefully I try to learn from them these days.
Well, Sam, I think you are playing a huge part in a massive period of change, not only for yourself, but also for Grimsby and everybody in the area. It's been an absolute pleasure talking to you tonight, listening to you tonight, really. I've really enjoyed listening to you. It's a difficult story to tell, and for a lot of people, it's possibly a difficult story to hear, but I think there is merit in the fact that you can sit there quite openly and talk to me, as you have done. So thank you for that. I very much appreciate it. And thank you to everybody that's watched our little show tonight. I hope you've enjoyed listening to Sam and I talking about nonsense for the last half an hour or so. We've certainly enjoyed doing it for you, and we look forward to seeing you again on the next episode of Grimbarians Talks. So thank you very much, Sam. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you all somewhere soon. Good night.